On today's episode, we will be sending our camera crew out to find whale sharks. Their first challenge, however, will simply be to get there.
A lot better than Balloon. Alright. Here we go.
The 700-meter long zip line is one of the longest in the Philippines. At roughly 650 feet above the ground below, it gave our team a chance to fly like birds before swimming with the world's biggest fish. Thanks to the GoPro's high frame rate, it allows us to slow things down without the video feeling choppy. Well done. Upon arrival at the beach, we are given a quick lesson about whale sharks and how to behave around them. After all, even the most gentle giant can still squish you by accident. At this point, Alan Doucette and Brian Morales are quite excited for their first glimpse of these massive beasts. One of the more advanced boats is actually offering free Wi-Fi. Although we think that might not be entirely accurate. It has taken less than 2 minutes and we're already surrounded by the whale sharks. Let's go to the water. This was the first and the smallest of all the sharks we encountered, and yet it is still so amazing that it leaves Brian awestruck.
Say something smart, Brian? With a British accent?
I can't even think of anything.
Here we get to see a little bit of perspective, as you can see Alan and Brian, as well as the boat and the boatman, who is a professional marine biologist, in comparison to the whale shark. It's also the first time that you get to see the 5 massive gills in action, as they move, opening and closing, gathering oxygen to the fish. Another unique trait of the whale shark is the distinctive pattern of light-colored spots and stripes on its back. Its back being a bluish gray to brown with thousands of cream-colored spots scattered in a pattern believed to be unique to each shark, much like the human fingerprint. As the whale shark turns, we get our first view of the filter feeding process. Its mouth is over 1.5 meters wide, and when the shark opens it, gallons of water and tiny creatures get sucked in. At this point, giant filter pads on the inside of the shark's gills separate the tiny creatures from the water. It is also important to note that while they have no need for teeth, these sharks have between 300 and 350 rows of teeth. That means on average, each shark has roughly 3,000 teeth in their mouths. That is a fact that I am glad to have only learned after having swam with them. Even without the knowledge of how many teeth this great shark has, I was still quite perturbed, as you'll see, as it turns towards me, opening and closing its mouth. And as you can hear, I start swimming away quite quickly. In an attempt to take refuge with Mr. Morales underneath the boat, this brings us our closest experience yet with the shark. And again here, the shark makes a quick turn, leaving both Brian and myself scrambling for cover to avoid being smacked by his large tail. In addition, we were told that if you did get within 4 meters of the shark, you could be fined 2,500 pesos, or roughly $62 Canadian, or spend 6 months in jail. We elected to pay the fine. This shark came right out of the blue. I was lucky to catch any of it on film, and it was by far the biggest shark we saw. This is the first time we get a good look at the shark's eyes, which are well out on the side of its head, making it quite difficult for the shark to see what's directly in front of it. However, with a mouth that big, you don't really need to see your food. Here is a quick shot of Brian with the shark's tail. You can see that that's roughly the same size, just to help try and give you context into how big these fish really are.
And that concludes our visit with whale sharks. Mr. Morales, in your expert opinion, how was that?
It was stunning. Stunning.
I am quite blown away, Riley,
And once in a lifetime experience.
by the size of that.
Big fish.
That's a huge fish. Holy smokes. And one last goodbye. The shark is swimming by. You can see its dorsal fin peeking out of the water. And as a snorkeling man myself, that normally instills a fair amount of fear. However, on today's voyage, nothing but excitement.